Welcome to Riding Pine's greatest NHL medical comeback. It's a very specific form of comeback.
It is.
Having to do with medicine, which we know nothing about.
A little bit.
You're a doctor?
Almost.
You a secret doctor?
Yeah, close.
Close. Okay. First on the list, Saku Koivu, who had some form of cancer.
Yes.
It was
Non-Hodgkin's.
Non-Hodgkin's, right? Which means
Burkitt's lymphoma is what it was called.
There you go.
Yes.
Good job. So he missed the 01-02 season. He played 3 games, but then he missed the rest of it. And he was about like a 40 to 56 point player.
Yeah.
Came back, 71 points. Take that, cancer. Saku Koivu, winner.
Yep.
Next on the list, we have Mario Lemieux.
Mario Lemieux had a type of
Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was a Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yes. And that is a pretty high mortality rate.
Yeah,
I think.
Now it's at an 86% 5-year survival rate now.
Okay.
But back then, that was what, like 20 years ago? Not so much.
Yeah, it was more than 20 years now.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so old.
I know.
Oh, so he came back and
I think it was like, oh yeah, he came back and played. He was incredible when he came back. Over 100 points.
Like, that's just it, right? So he not only had to go through the rigors of curing himself of this disease and everything around that, he came back and was still a 100-point player.
I don't know what year that was in, but I feel it was like mid to late 90s.
Yeah, well, it was during the playoffs.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yager had to carry them for a while.
And then he came back again after he retired to play with Sid.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't mix those up.
Yeah, got to play with their roommates.
Yes, that's right.
Next is Clint Malarchuk.
Oh.
And I wince at this one because I've already got the mental image in my head.
Ugh.
For all of you people who have seen it, it's quite disturbing. We're not going to show it. Look it up at your own peril.
You do not need to see that twice.
No. Once is good enough.
Yeah.
Anyways, he was playing for the Buffalo Sabres against the St. Louis Blues. Collision happened in front of the net. That team cut his neck.
It was Steve Tuttle was the guy's name.
I think so. Yes.
And he collided with Uwe Krupp, who, little bit of trivia for you, he scored the triple overtime goal to win the Stanley Cup final in Game 4 in 1996 for the Colorado Avalanche against the Florida Panthers. I do. I remember watching it. I remember exactly.
I remember watching
triple overtime. I think Van Beesbrook had 61 saves that day.
Probably.
Yeah, insane.
Probably.
Anyways, got a little off track there.
Yeah, so they cut his jugular vein. Blood's coming out everywhere on the ice.
Yes.
He came back the next year.
Yeah, he came back. He played 3 more years in Buffalo.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing full seasons or anything. He was only playing 27, so he was a backup.
Yeah.
Good
stats 3.3. Like, it was on par with everything else he had done. So he came back, maybe not better than what he was, but he wasn't any worse.
But it's also on par for a backup goalie in those times too.
Jesus,
so no, he wasn't.
Because that was in '89, right? That was when he cut his throat.
Yeah.
So like early '90s, they'd be scoring a lot of goals.
Yes.
And last on the list is Max Pacioretty, who had some giant of a man destroy his back by throwing him in a stanchion wrestling styles.
Didn't he have to answer questions from the police about that? Like, was he
went nuts.
Was he almost criminally charged for that?
Yes, the police went after him in Montreal.
It's like Marty McSorley swinging that stick, the 2-hander. He got criminally charged, but I couldn't believe that they.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I couldn't believe they were actually thinking of pressing charges or charging him.
They interviewed him and they cleared him of all wrongdoing.
Yeah,
because it's a game. Although, kind of rough when you're pushing someone into the stanchion at full speed.
It happened fast.
Happened real fast.
I'm sure he meant to guide him. I don't obviously think he meant to hurt him that badly.
I don't think so. I don't think he wanted to break his back.
No.
Again, he broke a vertebrae in his back, came back the next year, and we all know the Max Pacioretty story and how he's one of the top. In the last 5 years, he's the 10th highest goal scorer in the league. 10th. Insane.
Is he? I thought he was even less than 10th.
No, he might be tied at 10th, but he's.
I thought it was less than that.
Last time
I thought he was like 7 or 8. No.
Oh no! In the last 5 years.
Okay.
So keep in mind he had a bad year last year.
Right.
So that didn't help. So those are 4. Do you have anyone else that you want to add to the greatest NHL medical?
Before we move on, I want to bring up one that unfortunately he didn't come back from, but the Clint Malarchuk was known as the cut. Trent McCleary was known as the shot.
Yeah.
When he took the shot to the larynx in 2000. That was brutal.
That was rough.
If you have some time, read up a story from his perspective. It's pretty interesting. He said 100 out of 100 times he would do it again.
Wow.
It's a pretty cool story. Read it.
Definitely. So now you have 5. Add one to the list. Say it in the comments below.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment below.